Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars. Special Correspondents is a movie that was released through Netflix, and it was written and directed by Ricky Gervais and stars Ricky Gervais, Eric Bana, uh, Vera Farmiga, Kelly MacDonald and Kevin Pollak. And it tells the story of Eric Bana and Ricky Gervais. Eric Bana is a charismatic radio news presenter, and Ricky Gervais is his technician. And they are given the task at the beginning of the movie to go and cover a story in, I think it's Ecuador, as there has been some unrest start in that country, and they are sent out there to cover the story over the radio and feedback about the unrest and give them news stories to put on the station. On the way to the airport, or just before they set off to the airport, Ricky Gervais accidentally throws away the passports, the money, the tickets, everything, because he thinks it was a letter he was writing his wife, who was played by Vera Farmiga, who has split up with him, and he's like written like a heartfelt letter, etc., etc. But Eric Bana says, "Forget it, throw it away." So he does. He throws it in a dustbin, and what he actually throws away is the passports, etc. So they get to the airport and they realise what he's done. They can't go. They're scared they're going to get fired. So they hatch a plan. They go to the local Latino restaurant cafe that's right across the radio station. They hide up in their attic room, and they decide to fake the news stories from there, with Ricky Gervais doing like all the sound effects and Eric Bana doing the presenting. But it all starts escalating, and they realise that they have to escalate it, and they create the story that they get kidnapped over there and that there is a ransom put out for their safe return. But this takes hold in the media across the country, and it's a case of, save these heroic journalists, etc., etc. And it really starts escalating, and they basically dig an even bigger hole for themselves. All in the while, Ricky Gervais' scummy wife is loving all the press attention and feeding off that. So that's pretty much the story that we get here. And overall, I have to say, I really quite enjoyed this movie. It's no comedy classic. It's not a laugh out loud type movie that you will be constantly laughing at and giving you belly aches. But I genuinely laughed at parts in this movie. I thought the humour was pitched just nice. I thought the two characters, Eric Bana and Ricky Gervais, their characters worked really well and bounced off each other really well. Eric Bana's a bit of a git. His character, a bit of a smart ass, bit really confident, etc. And Ricky Gervais actually plays quite the subtle character in this film. He's quite shy, laid back, bit of a loner. And even though he is funny in the movie, it's not in your face humour that you may be used to before with some of Ricky Gervais's performances. It's quite subtle, but a really pleasant performance by Ricky Gervais. Um, Vera Farmiga, who plays his wife, plays a really good role. She's like the villain wife, so you really dislike her character, but you're meant to. Kelly MacDonald plays the sweet, she works at the radio station with them, and she's clearly got a thing for Ricky Gervais's character, which it takes him an age to figure out. So there's a lot to like in this movie. It's one of those movies that I've wanted to watch for a while, ever since it came out, and I just thought, oh, I'll get round to that, because there were no buzz about it or anything. But I'm quite a fan of Ricky Gervais. I've learned to appreciate his humour as I've matured. So I thought, yeah, I'm going to give this one a watch. And I'm really, really glad I did. It's one of those movies that you can watch, and when it's finished, you can pretty much forget about, but enjoy the time that you're in there watching it, because it was decent film. There is no major negatives that I can give you about the movie. It's paced nicely. They escalate it just at the right time so that you don't get bored with the scenarios that they're in. The humour's nice, fairly gentle humour, but funny at the same time. Um, there's Yeah, to be honest, I can't really throw any major negatives at this. I mean, other than the fact, I suppose it's some people might want to watch a comedy that's really hilariously funny. Well, this isn't one of those. It's not one of those really grotesque um, R-rated comedies where it's just effing and jeffing all the time and really adult toilet humour. It isn't like that. It's a bit more old-fashioned in its approach, but I really appreciate that, to be honest, because I'm getting a little bit fed up of these grotesque R-rated comedies. They're starting to get on my nerves a little bit. So this was a nice, refreshing change, a nice palate refresher, if you like. This one, and I can't really give you too many complaints about it. I can't give it too high a score because it isn't changing anything massively, but it's a very competent movie. It's well directed. It's well written. The gags work. The humour works. The chemistry works. And it's one of those movies that you can certainly, like I say, you can watch and garner some enjoyment from it. But it ain't going to change your world. I do suspect that it doesn't do an awful lot for Latino stereotypes. I mean, the couple that run the Latino restaurant that they stay in their attic. Um, they like I say they won't do an awful lot for that stereotype, but I think it was intentional on Ricky Gervais's part to be so in your face at that it was ridiculous in that sense. But the characters were funny. I hope it wouldn't cause offence because it does seem a little bit of a negative stereotype, those two characters. So overall, I can't really give you too many faults for this movie. It's a decent watch, and you can certainly do far worse than watching this film.